This topic is about my bone marrow transplant. I didn't realize. I don't know if I've ever made this video about it before. This is very scary. I didn't mean to scare this guy. He didn't seem too really scared, but I'm sure it was kind of like, oh shit, man, I don't know. I think this guy may be out of whack for myself. The reason I say this is because I had my bone marrow transplant, and there was a DMC finalist from San Antonio. I thought he was from Houston. I couldn't remember if it was like Houston or San Antonio. It was Kiko. Sorry, it's Kiko. Kico. Kiko. And he's a DMC finalist, sort of heavy-set guy. Back when I was about 23, in my early 20s, I was trying to contact some support people in Texas that were heavily into turntablism. Like, you're going to competition. You're not, this is no, oh, I sit in my bedroom, I'm a DJ. No, like, your ability is competitive, ready to compete, and they're competing. So I could get some, or at least in the beginning stages of competing. And I thought that this, I looked up this guy and I sent him an email before my transplant, I think it was. I think it was like before my transplant. And I said, I contacted him and I said, we're gonna have to work on a project. We're gonna work on a project. I was, gonna book, some DJs or, work something out to have either a booking to start doing business, because then I'll have some connections in San Antonio, but it's Texas. I wasn't, something that would allow me maybe a road trip, because there really wasn't very much Dallas turntablists that were like, that I ever knew about, because it really wasn't very big at the time. And most of them that did usually did it by themselves. They weren't social. Like, if you look at a lot of the San Francisco, you look at Chicago, Miami, New York, they all have like gathering communities of supporting DJs where they compete with another, tips here and there. They didn't have any of that in Dallas, and there was very few people that were really kind of represented Dallas in any turntablism that were heavily, like, nothing compared to like Miami, San Francisco, New York, Chicago, or even Denver, Colorado. Seattle, Washington, I think had some pretty big hot spots, but Dallas seemed to kind of not have a huge following where they were creating events like that. And at the time, I was like, well, in my opinion, it's better to be the elite and then, have the level of confidence, and you could have all the top DJs in the world and they couldn't tell you anything. They're just entertainers compared to the knowledge and brains you have behind those turntables and know how to dissect. So I called this guy, and then I got diagnosed. I want to say I called him or I emailed him, and I don't know if I called him or emailed him, and I said, hey, we're going to work, and then I said, we'll keep in touch to see what goes on over the next couple months. And then in like a month later, 2 months later, I don't know what it was, 3 months later, I sent him an email, and I said, I just got diagnosed with cancer, and I'm going through a transplant. I don't know if I'm going to make it. So I didn't want to leave a business partner or a potential someone who actually did respond to me to say, hey, you know what, forget about it, so I kind of kept my word, a good string of business. And he said, oh, okay, man, I hope everything works for you. I hope everything goes good. I go my transplant, get sick, and I think a week at staying home. Julian, I think, either just left or still in my apartment. I decided to email this guy, or I called him by phone. I think I called him by phone because I didn't want to lose connections. In my mind, I'm thinking like I gotta keep going. I gotta keep doing. I gotta just kind of keep doing this. Can't lose my connections. It's like it's hard because I couldn't get anybody to respond. I think I emailed several people, and he picked up the phone, and I was breathing like this, and I sounded like I was dying, and I was bald, skin, no eyebrows, hardly any I mean, I was just sick. I shouldn't probably have called him. That was probably the steroids, but I was eager to continue the business, and that's how I was at that time. And I was breathing. I was like, hey, I just went through my transplant. I know, just got out of the hospital, man. I just want to say, keep in touch, man. I'm, recovering, and I just don't want to lose my connection, man. All right. He goes, yeah, I hope you're okay. And I think he got startled a little bit because it sounded like a cancer dying patient over the phone. But anyway, I thought I would, say that because I was breathing hard over the phone. I was. I don't know what day was causing me to breathe heavy. I think it was the steroids, and I had just gained a lot of weight. But yeah, I did sound like I was kind of dying over the phone, which I didn't mean to. I was sort of in this mind. I gotta kind of keep going, kind of doing things, and not really realizing, maybe affecting the other people more than I thought I am. But anyway, so I thought I'd make a video on that. I couldn't remember how the emails whenever when they had Roadrunner or some shit like that on Comcast, but he was a DMC competitor, and with some really talented, highly skilled and well-known DJs, like world-renowned DJs. Definitely potential to become a DMC world champion winner. And so, anyway, that's how I was going about at that time. It was right before my transplant. It all happened like 6 months within my transplant. And because I couldn't find anybody who could represent Texas. Houston, kind of a little bit, because it was hard to find communities because it is a very extreme, dedicated discipline. You're in a bedroom, 7 hours a day. Like, you're just not, partying, trying to look cool. This is something that is you get an exam you get a test to see what you're claiming what you are. And there is no runarounds, it's not like playing in front of a huge crowd of people and people all love your fame and then just, oh my God, we all love you, and then people are cheering and crazy and whatever. And you're really not that talented. It's just people you have that like factor. Well, you can't have a like factor like that if you're an extremist. It takes, you're getting the education of what you're actually doing. It's not an entertaining part of it, so much of it. There's elements in the judging rules and all that other stuff, presence and all that, but there's no hiding your skills. You either suck or you're in between, you're still learning or whatever it is, but but I thought I'd mention that because I didn't want to scare that person. It sounded like I was dying over the phone. I didn't want to lose a connection, and I was just like, all right, I got a hot spot, I got a hot spot in San Antonio I can work on. I got a hot spot in Andy Caldwell, which was in he was from San Francisco, I think he was. Was he? Yeah, he was Chicago or San Francisco. I can't remember where he was flying from, where he was originally from. Either Chicago or San Francisco. I'm going to say like San Diego or San Francisco, but he could have been flying somewhere else on a booking trip. I knew that had connection, done one booking, to throw events or whatnot. But that was very important for me at that time to learn the business aspects of it because I wanted to do other things in life. There were other elements in life that I wanted to incorporate to understand a lot of the business dynamics and how those bridges are built, burned, created, stabilized, and what they do to the environment. So that was important to me because you learn a lot of the aspects of different. Once you learn a lot about the business things, you also learn the business of other different things and structures and how they work. So I thought that was important for me to talk about. I don't know what happened to this guy. Never talked to him again. I don't know if the guy thought I was dead, but he kind of just was on the phone and, was kind of like, oh shit. Not like, oh shit, like, right? Yeah, it was silence over the phone, kind of like, and, like this guy's dying over the phone. So, anyway, thought I'd make a video, didn't mean to really terrorize the situation, but I just happened to come across, and, one of the few people that, and also it's because he was Mexican, or he looked Hispanic. He represented the same eye and skin and hair color as I did, and there really isn't a large population that is out there that were DMC quality finalists, or DMC even able to enter and compete into that, because there just isn't. You obviously Asians and whatnot, but not somebody, not too many Hispanics. You got craze, but not a whole lot of authentic Mexican or Hispanics, Latins that represent the Latin community, and I thought this would be great. And, it's like my uncle did say, it does work, it bridges well to represent, because, we're just really known for construction work and tortillas, and food, but, so anyway, yeah, I just want to make a video on that.